The Postcard Killer. The sleepy coastal town of Gull Haven prided itself on its timeless charm. Lined with cobblestone streets, quaint shops, and a lighthouse standing sentinel over the bay, it was the kind of place where strangers were noticed and secrets were scarce. That all changed when the postcards began to arrive. It started innocuously enough. The first postcard was delivered to Agnes Monroe, the town's retired librarian. It depicted the Gull Haven Library as it had been 50 years ago, its ivy-clad exterior freshly painted. The message read, "A page turned too soon." Agnes, known for her meticulous routines, was found 2 days later at the base of her staircase, her broken reading glasses lying beside her. The coroner ruled it an accident, but whispers of the postcard lingered. When the second postcard arrived, this time at the hardware store owner Henry Wallace, people began to talk. The image showed a rowboat adrift in the bay. The note said, "Driftwood floats until it sinks." Henry's body was discovered in the harbor the following morning, tangled in fishing nets. The town's sense of security dissolved as more postcards surfaced. Each victim received a warning, enigmatic, poetic, and chilling, before meeting an untimely end. The townsfolk grew wary of their mailboxes, dreading the sight of those faded cards. Sheriff Mallory Graves, a woman with a reputation for solving the unsolvable, was as puzzled as everyone else. Her investigations led nowhere. The postcards bore no fingerprints or postmarks. They simply appeared, as if conjured. And while the deaths could all be explained as accidents, the coincidences were too precise to ignore. It was the fifth postcard that changed everything. Unlike the others, this one arrived at the sheriff's own office. The image was of Gull Haven's lighthouse, its beacon cutting through the night. The words on the back read, "A light snuffed out." Sheriff Graves felt a chill as she pocketed the card. Was it a taunt? A warning? Determined to catch the killer, she resolved to stay at the lighthouse overnight, suspecting the message referred to the lighthouse keeper, Walter Hayes. A recluse in his 70s, Walter rarely ventured into town, but had faithfully kept the lighthouse running for decades. The night was stormy, the wind howling as waves battered the cliffs. Sheriff Graves climbed the spiral staircase to the lantern room, her flashlight cutting through the gloom. She found Walter there, his face pale but resolute. "I received a postcard," Walter admitted, his voice trembling. He handed it to her. It showed the lighthouse again, but the message read, "The keeper is kept no more." "We're staying together," Graves said firmly, locking the door to the lantern room. The storm outside raged on, and the hours crept by in tense silence. At midnight, the light from the lantern suddenly dimmed, then extinguished. "What the?" Walter muttered, moving to inspect the mechanism. Before Graves could react, the room plunged into darkness. She heard the creak of the trapdoor below opening and the unmistakable sound of footsteps ascending the stairs. Gun drawn, Graves aimed at the shadows. "Who's there?" she demanded. A figure emerged from the darkness, dressed in a long raincoat, their face obscured by a hood. The figure held up an oil lamp, its flickering light illuminating their features. Graves's breath caught. "Agnes?" she whispered. It was Agnes Monroe, the first victim, except she wasn't dead. Her eyes glinted with malice as she smiled. "You figured it out too late, Sheriff," Agnes said, her voice venomous. "They all deserved it. Every single one. The lies they told, the lives they ruined. Gull Haven is a town of rot hidden under a pretty facade. I just hastened the inevitable." Graves didn't waver. "Drop the lamp, Agnes. It's over." Agnes laughed. You think you've won? The postcard killer's story doesn't end here. With a sudden motion, she hurled the lamp against the wall. Flames erupted, and smoke filled the room. As Agnes fled down the stairs, Graves pursued, shouting for Walter to follow. They emerged into the storm, coughing and disoriented. The lighthouse burned like a beacon of destruction. Agnes was gone, swallowed by the night. Despite an exhaustive search, she was never found. In the weeks that followed, the postcards stopped, but the scars on Gull Haven's psyche remained. The lighthouse was rebuilt, but it no longer held the same allure, and Sheriff Graves, though lauded for her bravery, knew the truth. The postcard killer might be gone, but Gull Haven's secrets were far from buried.